It's finally happening. Labour's own MPs are starting to revolt. The party that has pushed open border policies, ignored the voices of ordinary Britons, and branded anyone who dares to question immigration as far right is now crumbling from within. In Parliament, Labour MP Graham Stringer directly confronted Yvette Cooper, exposing the truth the government doesn't want to hear. They're not coming from war-torn countries, they're coming from France. This is a devastating blow to Labour's narrative. For years, they've justified the endless flow of migrants by framing it as a humanitarian crisis. But the reality, these crossings are coming from a safe European nation, not from war zones. And now, even Labour MPs can't deny it. Why the sudden rebellion? Because they know their seats are on the line. Voters up and down the country are furious. Communities are stretched, resources are drained, and the patience of the British people has run out. Labour MPs are starting to realise that blindly defending these policies isn't just political suicide. It's a betrayal of the very people who elected them. The cracks are widening. The revolt has begun. And if Starmer can't control his own party on the most pressing issue of our time, then how can he possibly claim to lead the country? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go now to the explosive footage inside Parliament, where Graham Stringer makes his stand. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Have a watch.
I doubt, however, that the measures she's putting before the House at the present time will be as successful as she and I would wish them to be. They don't really deal with the fact that many migrants are not coming from war-torn countries. They're coming from France, which is not persecuting them in any recognisable form. The reason is demand pull from this country, which migrants believe they will have a better time and an easier time and get through the system more easily than they would in France and other European countries. Denmark has been successful in reducing the demand pull. If these measures aren't as successful as she would wish them to be, will she look more closely at what Denmark has done to improve the situation?
So he's right to say that obviously small boats are mainly setting off from France. People have travelled through France, but that is exactly why we have negotiated the pilot agreement with France to be able to return people back to France. The first time that this has happened, something previous governments tried and completely failed to do. It's important we do that and we build on that, but we also need to tackle some of those pull factors, particularly around illegal working. That's why we've had a 50% increase in illegal raids and arrests, and also to recognise that the family reunion issue is being used by some of those criminal gangs as well. And that is one of the things that Denmark has done, which is to increase the time before refugees can apply for family reunion so that they are more likely to be working, more likely to be supporting their families, and so that we have they prevent criminal gangs being able to use it as a pull factor.
And there you have it. The mask is slipping. When even Labour MPs are forced to admit the truth, you know the tide is turning. Graham Stringer said out loud what millions of Britons already know. These crossings are not about fleeing war, they're about exploiting a broken system. The bigger picture, Labour is falling apart on immigration. The leadership is clinging to failed policies, while its own MPs are panicking because they can see the writing on the wall. They know the public has had enough, and they know their seats are at risk. This moment is bigger than one MP speaking out. It signals a shift, the beginning of open revolt inside Labour. And if Starmer can't hold his party together on this, then the question is simple. How long before the whole house of cards comes crashing down? In other news, Nigel Farage has a golden opportunity to win over the electorate by solving mass migration, but faces a major challenge, according to a top UK pollster. The importance of immigration has grown sharply since the election, with 13% of voters naming it as their top issue during the last BMG poll before last year's general election, but now stands at over double at 27% in fresh research by BMG. Over 1 in 3 voters say Reform is the best party to handle immigration, comfortably ahead of Labour on 15%, and the Conservatives with 1 in 10 backing them. Reform UK revealed its plan for mass deportations in a bid to finally bring an end to Britain's growing migrant crisis in emergency laws under the Illegal Migration Mass Deportation Bill, which includes potentially deporting 600,000 migrants over 5 years and barring anyone who comes to the UK on small boats from claiming asylum. Nearly half of Britons would support mass deportations of recently arrived migrants, according to a YouGov poll. The research, published in August this year, shows 45% of Britons say they would support admitting no more new migrants and requiring large numbers of migrants who came to the UK in recent years to leave. This figure rises amongst Reform UK voters, with 86% of support backing the idea. Labour and Lib Dem voters make up 27% each, according to the poll. George Buchan, founder of GB Insight, said, "Recent YouGov polling shows that immigration remains a key issue amongst the UK electorate. The polling, however, reveals significant nuance amongst public attitudes towards migrant removals, particularly around the issue of illegality. While a majority of respondents express support for the removal of migrants who have entered the UK illegally, the numbers shift considerably when the context and definitions are explored more closely. For example, support for removals is notably higher when the term illegal migrants is used, but drops when respondents are asked about specific groups such as asylum seekers or those who have lived in the UK for several years." He argued that this suggests that public opinion is shaped as much by perceptions of legality as by broader concerns about migration. The same data also showed that 47% of the public believe immigration to the UK is primarily illegal rather than legal. Irregular or illegal migration accounted for just 4% of overall immigration in the year to March, with legal migration making up 96%. Speaking on the idea of mass deportation, Mr. Buchan told the People's Channel, "The data also shows that a substantial minority are uncomfortable with large-scale removals, especially if it involves families or individuals who have established roots in the UK." He added, "This ambivalence is reflected in the way respondents distinguish between recent arrivals and those who have integrated into local communities. Such nuances indicate that blanket policies or rhetoric around removals may not resonate as strongly as more targeted approaches. Since the plan was announced, Reform UK hit 35% of the vote for the first time, according to a fresh poll from BMG Research. It's also the biggest lead recorded for them over Labour, resulting in a landslide majority of more than 400 seats. If a general election were today, leaving Labour with fewer than 100, and the Conservatives close to being wiped out completely. Mr. Buchan added, "For Nigel Farage, these findings present both opportunities and risks. Farage has built much of his political capital on a hardline stance against illegal migration, and recent electoral successes for Reform UK suggest that this message continues to mobilise a significant segment of the electorate. However, the nuanced public attitudes revealed by the polling mean that any move towards large-scale removals could alienate moderate voters or provoke backlash if perceived as indiscriminate or inhumane." Farage's challenge will be to maintain his core support while adapting his messaging to reflect the complexities in public opinion. Around a third of Labour and Conservative supporters at the 2024 election have abandoned the two parties in just over a year. For the Conservatives, almost all defectors have gone straight to Reform, while Labour's vote has splintered in all directions. Reform UK is still the biggest beneficiary, picking up 15% of Labour's voters last year. As well as this newfound support, Nigel Farage's party has also retained almost all of their own support from last year. 96% of their 2024 say they would put the cross next to the Reform box once again, according to research by BMG. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.